sea. And I lift her eyes and run some sand. Pearls they would land, pearls they would land. Touching, wipe the brow of the blood that's letting go. A girl with a swollen toe, goddess of crime and of woe.
Hello and welcome everybody. Hello, Carissa. How you doing?
Hey, Ruben. I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Good. I'm excited for tonight's show with Maya Wallace, the wonderful Maya Wallace. As you know, she is a beautiful person, as we talked backstage. Yes. But I'm excited because there's a lot of stuff I always wanted to ask Maya. I'm shy, not here because I'm not, but in front of people I am. I get shy, and so this is the time where I can ask questions and learn about people. And we appreciate everybody out there for coming to Cali Cocktail Hour Wednesday edition, which is artist talk and talk about life and what's going on now. So how you been, by the way, since last Monday I saw you on here?
Monday, yeah, I guess. I mean, we're Wednesday. I don't know what time is anymore. I think just take it one day at a time. But for a lot of us, hey, John.
Hola, John.
I don't know. The smoke's been pretty intense, so kind of keeping an eye on that. And I have asthma, so I have to be kind of keeping myself busy while I'm indoors. So yeah, it's nice to connect with people. And so I'm really happy to be here. And Maya is someone who I, locally, if you might know that name, like she does a lot of really great stuff. So it's really awesome to connect with her on this platform as well.
Yeah. And hi, Victor. How you doing? Thanks for coming about tonight. Yeah. Like I said, Maya does a lot of stuff. So it's kind of hard to wrap, I'll wrap it a little bit around my head today. So, so let's get to a song and then we'll come back with Maya. We'll get everybody sit back, have your little cocktail. I have two of them today. Cali Cocktail is whatever you can get up. Doesn't have to be an alcoholic drink. I just have to happen to have a beer, spicy beer and mezcal, just to kind of switch it up a little bit. Water? Or
just doing water tonight. It's Wednesday.
Awesome. I love it.
We did mezcal on Monday, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know what day it is anymore. So I'm like, every day is a mezcal night. We're doing great. And we love that people comment. You guys all out there, ask questions too. This is an open forum for you to ask questions and just type them in and we'll ask Maya, ask me, ask Carissa, but mostly ask Maya. So we're going to play a song. It's a sensitive song. It's a sensitive song, and we'll come back. Someone is drinking a special Pepsi. Yes, there you go. And this is where we calm down in the show, but we are spreading the love. If you only come here for one reason, is to hear that we love you, we love you. And sometimes people just need to hear that. So
yeah, they do.
We love you. So yes. Hi, Dan.
For special Pepsi.
Special. What is a special Pepsi? These are the mysteries that come up, and we love mysteries here on the Cali Cocktail Hour. Got the beat. A little bit of slow house music to get going,
I wonder if just for a day we refer to everything as special, what that would do to our head. Special day, special water, glass of water. For special.
It might not be special anymore. Too much special. We'll see. We'll make a contest. A special contest.
Okay.
Like I said, we'd like to welcome everybody out there. We can talk on this too, because it's all beats and sounds. See? Got the beat.
Nice.
You could do your famous karaoke singing over it too.
Well, we'll take a few more mezcals to do that.
Water might not do that, so.
Water might not.
So everybody, welcome. You're coming in. I can see you coming in right now. Questions, type them in. We'd like to welcome. Hold on. Oh, dude, what is wrong with me today? Bam. Cali Cocktail Hour welcomes Maya Wallace. And much love to all of you out there. See, I made it in big types. Sorry, big letters.
Oh,
Nice.
middle school was a good time.
Maya is ready.
Awesome.
I did my pre-meditation, good energy vibes out there today, so that was barely this close.
Probably better with some more meditation these days.
We're gonna drop the beat one more time. Oh no, we're not. See, too many fingers, and we're out. Maya Wallace.
Hello.
Hey, Maya.
Hey. Welcome. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm sort of shell shocked because it's Wednesday and it feels like Monday. Like I don't even know what I did. I had to work yesterday, but it doesn't feel like I did.
I think all the days are kind of going into each other, and so I honestly didn't know what day yesterday was either. Today I'm like, oh, okay. I actually have to reset every day now. It's to tell myself. So.
Yeah. No, if I take a nap midday, it feels like I live 2 days at once. So it's difficult to bookend my days sometimes. But Maya, how are you staying sane and connected these days?
Let's see. I don't know if I'm staying sane. But there's a lot going on, obviously there's fires, but there's also some friends of mine were in town this weekend. So we got a pontoon boat and went out on the rivers on Sunday, which was really nice, except that it was 111. So it was really hot. I wasn't sure that the water was very much cooler than the air. Like it was so warm out there. So
especially when it gets that hot, like I don't know if there's any kind of relief you can try to get out there.
Yeah,
it's like
you just get in the water, right? But we went to Swabbies and Virgin Sturgeon. So
I haven't been to Swabbies. I don't think I've ever been to Swabbies. So
you would remember if you had.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Did you dock and get to Swabbies, or did you drive there?
No, we went on the river.
Nice.
There's docks at both spots, so you just pull up and tie yourself to the dock, and they try to do social distancing, but really just hoping for the best.
Well, Maya, I'm happy and I'm glad that we made this connection to come on the show, because we've been, we've both been busy and been back and forth and about it. But I'm really happy that you're on here because you do so much. And I was telling Carissa, I really don't know all the things that you do, because I see you do so much. So I don't know how to even describe what you do. I was like, oh, she's wonderful, Maya Wallace. That's, I go by the, I see you online. I see, for social justice. I saw you do, the Black Artist Fund, all this. Just all this stuff. And so it's nice to be able to, get to you and ask these questions about what you do, because I know that a lot of people want to, ask questions about you. And Sean Berner is on here. And he said, did you run into the Trump boat parade?
Yes, we did. We didn't see anybody sink, unfortunately. So.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah, we actually saw a Trump boat and then a sheriff boat pull up and hang out and talk to the people on the Trump boat. And we were very,
that's common.
We're a little upset about that. We didn't like that. Yeah,
it'd probably be trippy if it happened the opposite. You're like, wait a minute, that's
the sheriff should be nonpartisan. Obviously, he's not, but they should be.
Scott Jones.
Right.
Before I go, Ace Surge he's in Chicago, right?
Actually, they're not. It's the color my shirt's blurring into my chair.
I was like, what is the mask?
I know. I can put on a Zoom background, maybe. I'm not sure.
Sean says sounds about right. Right.
Oh, the conversation that Maya saw.
Yeah.
That's
so so like I said, we're so happy that you're here. And I asked Carissa, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need a co-host on Wednesday, and so I'll do it. I go, so I'm glad, because we are, we're both fans, and I mean that in a good way, not.
Yeah.
That means a sense, yes.
You were saying, Ruben, it's like, I don't know Maya actually at all. I'm just very familiar with her work.
Yeah. So make it go perfect. So, what would we like to talk about first? I'll let you go, Carissa, since you have a question.
I will. So the only reason, and as I was telling Maya a few minutes before, it's like I see your name everywhere. However, it's for good reasons. It's like you show up in a certain space, whether you're talking about local government or advocacy for artists, or even, just following you on social media, your commentary, your understanding of how our world works or what's happening. We're in the midst of two pandemics, really, like a public health pandemic and a racism pandemic. And it seems like none of us can really have a moment to breathe. But I see you providing commentary and as a very real person, acting in a very local way to actually affect change. And so I'm just very curious, as many of us feel overwhelmed with everything that's happening, how do you stay focused? Like, how do you stay committed to this? And what inspires you to remain committed?
Gosh. Okay. So I feel like this was like one of those questions that is like an origin story question.
Everybody loves an origin story.
Take where you will.
Right? So when I was a kid, I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and I went to a science and math magnet school. My mom is an artist, and my dad works in food manufacturing, both as like a manager, like floor manager, and also as a food safety auditor. So those are like, one is creative and one is like very regimented, and one is like the world is just so, and you have to follow all the rules. The other person is like, screw the rules. And so my mom's really idealistic. My dad's very practical. And I try to reconcile both of those things because I kind of like both of them at the same time, depending on the day. And when I was a kid, so when we moved to California in the 80s, I sort of noticed that there was a lot of disparity that I hadn't seen before. And I could have just been that everyone I knew was poor in St. Louis. But, it's one of those things I didn't understand at the time, but I understand in retrospect.
Yeah.
But in California, we moved to Anaheim, and I was late, right? It's because we'd driven cross country in the middle of the summer. And so I didn't, I wasn't in any of the classes I was supposed to be in, right? I was, and what, like the fact that I just said classes is because they tested me and then put me in the grade level for each thing that I tested into. So I was in 5th grade reading and like 3rd grade science, and then 2nd grade social studies and like, stuff like that. And I had this homeroom class, and all the kids in the homeroom class were like, had moved in the summer. So they were sort of like, it was like an overflow class. And it was a lot of immigrants, either from Vietnam or Laos or Mexican farm worker kids, right? And this is Anaheim, and this is 30 years ago, or more than 30 years ago now. And it was still agricultural. So there were a lot of folks like that. And my teachers were just horrifyingly racist to all the immigrant kids. And they, and I also had challenges, like my mom was trying to get me into like GATE, and I don't know if you guys know, but like it's really hard for Black kids to get into GATE. And I did, but I remember just being like, every kid deserves whatever they aspire to, and whatever they're capable to their capability. And so that's kind of like motivated me my whole life. And that's why I studied cognitive science in undergrad, and I used to write environmental science curriculum because I believe in science literacy, I knew we were coming to this moment where we're in now. And I wanted the people to be able to make decisions, to have the capacity and education to see what was happening and make the right choices. In my mind, the right choices, right? Balance all the things, but come out on the side of maybe trying to preserve the planet. And then that led me to go to grad school and study public policy, because I was writing science curriculum, but I was noticing that all the states were politicizing their tests. There was No Child Left Behind, all that stuff. And so I was like, how do you fix this? And I learned by going to DC and doing a fellowship that you can't fix it at the federal level. You have to fix it at the local level, but you really need to understand all the moving pieces and how they fit together. And so I just, I have my day job where I work for the state. I work for the Department of Justice and internal audits, not anything related to actual justice. But, you know, I really love Sacramento. And so I sort of have chosen to apply all of this synthesis of like my life to my community. And
well,
somehow
I'm gonna say Sacramento loves you too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Big time.
So, and Victor says his brother was a gate kid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them talented education, right? Or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Serge says so many different grade level racist teachers. That's fucked up.
Right? Like that's really messed up for a 7-year-old.
Let's go back
to be like,
yeah.
They're like, go to this class now, Maya. Go over here.
I don't know how that works, you know. Hey Vera, I want to say hello to Vera, Randy, and Teresa. I love that story too, and I love the origin story, you know, because it does, you know, get to know you on a personal level too. It's kind of the show's about too, but I love that story. So thank you for so much for that too. Yeah. And now I know where you work, so no, just kidding.
I know.
yeah.
I usually try to keep that out of my public conversation, but you know, it's not. I don't do anything crazy. I don't have access to all of the high-profile stuff.
Love it. See, DOJ by day, superhero after 5. Gifted and talented, I think. Yes. So see, you know, you got. There you go. That's another gate school, right?
Yes,
different style, right. But yes. Sorry. Oh my, sorry about that. Yeah, you can see that in Sean's artwork too. It's like beautiful stuff, you know, and another beautiful artist. And thank you for you know, helping out all the artists out there, Maya, too. By the way, I know they appreciate it. You know, I know that.
You know, it's funny because my mom, she studied art at Cal State Long Beach. Yeah. And she didn't finish. And she was always very frustrated about not having like the resources that she needed to pursue a career in art. And I think that really like affected me. Like, it's not something I didn't set about saying, I'm going to go fix the art scene in Sacramento. It was that I have a lot of friends who are artists and I know the struggles that they encounter. And I was like, well, let's see if I can help with this.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of artists aren't social butterflies, you know, so they're not out there. They're doing art and, you know, shy and anxious, social anxiety, everything, you know. So it's hard to go out there and go, look at my stuff, you know. Someone's got to advocate for them, right? And you know, there's a lot of beautiful people out there, and a lot of people out there who are great creators out there that just need a little bit of a hand. And thank you for that too, for doing that.
There's work. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Oh yeah, I think always, right?
Yeah. Sorry. As I listen to you, I keep hearing like, I'll see if I can help. And that gets you to like the next step and the next step. And it's like, I'm really curious, like, because I've seen you helping so much. So how, like, can you tell me a little bit about, like, I've seen you on the Wonk Wednesdays. I mean, I think that's your baby. I think there's a bit about the Black Artist Fund. Let us, you know, if this is not your day, I thought that was your day job, honestly.
I know. So let's go with the Wonk Wednesday, because I really want to know. I always I see it all the time. I don't go out much in those things because I'm just not. I get shy, not on here virtually, but I do in, you know. I'm sure some people are like, "He's an asshole. He won't even talk." I'm like, no, I find my spots and I leave. You know, I say hi and I leave. You know, so but I really am, you know, interested in what what is Wonk Wednesday and what is that about? Because I'm just curious too.
Yeah. So Wonk Wednesday was it grew out of a Facebook fight.
Yeah.
I think we were debating one of the mini arena proposals, and folks were getting heated. And Dave Gohl had just opened New Helvetia Brewing Company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, let's keep it civil. Why don't we bring this into the real world and like have a dialogue over a pint of beer and maybe try to come to, I don't know, find some common ground or at least like understand the issues better." And so it's become this civil dialogue policy forum on local issues. So we've been doing it. I think this is our 6th year, but this year's been weird. So we've only had a couple. We're going to have one next week on Wednesday. It's always Wednesday, but it's not every Wednesday or a specific Wednesday. It's just whenever we can get it done. And it's going to be on understanding advocacy and at the county level. So we had Phil Cerna, who's the chair of the board, in July. He kind of talked about COVID and things like that. And it was before the controversy about how the county's given so much of the funding from the CARES Act to the sheriff's department.
Oh, can I ask you, what does the sheriff's department do? That's what I want to know. Like, I've never seen. I don't know what they do.
Well,
I really don't.
You live in the city of Sacramento, right? You live in the city.
But I mean, even out there. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead. Yeah.
You're like, what do they do? They're just jerks. Yeah.
No, I mean that's I know they're not
public safety. They're the same as the police, but they're the county. So depending on whether or not a city has its own police force, it might contract with the sheriff's department to do that work. They take all the emergency calls. Let's see.
I was like,
and then they run the jail.
Oh,
the correctional facilities.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had I had a couple of friends who had some issues with mental health, and it was very hard to get any kind of help that would work. And I had my brother's friend went through the same thing. I had to tell him, like, look, it's really hard to get any kind of people with mental issues help. It's just so strange, I'm like, so anyway, so that's why I wonder, like, what is the solution to that, or what is the question of that kind of, if that kind of funding is going to that stuff rather than mental health or people that know what to do, and that
I used to work for Sacramento Steps Forward, which coordinates federal funding for homeless services in Sacramento County. And I'm a government geek, so I kind of know like all the ways in which different parts of government are responsible for different services. And one of the things that's been kind of frustrating is there's been this groundswell of interest and participation amongst a lot of folks in the community in ways that like we've never been seen before, I don't think, at least in a lifetime. And a lot of folks don't it's complicated. California has many special districts, like 4,000 or something like that. So it's hard to keep track of who's responsible for what. But a lot of our frustration around homelessness is not the city's responsibility, it's the county's responsibility. And so sometimes I find myself defending the city because the city is actually going above and beyond what is required of the city. But I mean, obviously, that's one conversation, like what's legal.
Yeah, but it's also good to hear that too. But then there's
also what do we want as a community to do and be.
Yeah. And that's very important that, that explanation is important too, because people often put their energy to the wrong person or the wrong agency, and I know it's just emotional. It's an emotional issue. And I've had friends like that too. So it's just strange when you don't know. So thank you for bringing that up too.
I think that's a really important function of Wonk Wednesday is to help people understand and connect. Like, but it's a two-way street, right? So the presenters or the panelists are people working in policy, and so people get to see and interact with folks who they may not otherwise have access to. And then the other side of that is that people who are directly affected by their decisions can appeal directly to them in this, forum outside of the dais. And because I think that the setup of the dais and the podium is just really alienating. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important. And, and it's not just that, right? Like, there's all these committee consultants and, like, folks working behind the scenes in government that people don't even know or think about. And, like, hearing their perspectives, I think, is important too, right? Like, this is our democracy, and, like, we kind of have to do some work to participate.
Looks like we have someone that met you too, Maya, at Wonk Wednesday. So let's bring that up.
Yay.
Carissa.
Okay, so Claire just saying he loves Wonk Wednesdays, WW, at New Hill. And I'm coughing because of the smoke, by the way, so it's not La Rona. I am certain I met you, Maya. I'll be back in Sacramento September 15th for La Independencia de Mexico, 9/16. So I'll definitely swing or Zoom through Wonk Wednesday. Viva Government Geeks.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love hearing, like, when you're talking about your origin story and this desire to improve access to education, right? It's like, it's amazing. The more that people know about how something works, the better they can function as, like, civil servants, the better they can sort of get involved in their communities. And what I hear from you is, like, there's a huge disconnect. There's a lot of misinformation, especially now, that's spreading. And it's like, what's the responsibility of those? Or maybe there are those making decisions, but some of us are seeing these two conversations play out, where it's like, there are decisions being made, and then there's the average citizen who, like, cares about their family, cares about the art they're producing, cares about so many other things, and they still have to pay attention to what's happening, the decisions made about them. And so to see someone like you step into that space and say, and convene people, I think is a very powerful thing to do, especially now. And I think we're seeing how desperately that's needed. It's hard to sit back from my social media platform and see these conversations play out and be like, I don't have the space or capacity to debate every person. So for you to convene those spaces is pretty neat. But
it's easier than debating everybody. Yeah, I don't think I was the one having the debate. Usually what happens is other people argue with each other on my page.
You know what? And I was guilty of that once too. I'm like, for some reason I got on your page and I asked, I don't know, something happened, and then someone contacted you or something. I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean that for it to happen, and, but yeah, I see that a lot too. I'm like, no, that wasn't me. I would never do that. I mean, not you, but I'm just like friends or, people, because people get, they get a little bit nuts too. It's like they get too emotional about stuff, and, like, they can't see things, and they're just going to type right away what they feel. I'm like, okay, you might want to just step back a little bit. But especially, like I said, about knowing whose responsibility it is the counties for the, so why would you spend so much money on the sheriff's department if the county needs to, put funds into where it really is needed too, so, but, yeah. And, someone asked me, like, well, what does Maya do? I'm like, Maya does so much stuff. I don't even know how to answer that. Honestly, I'm like, I see you so everywhere. I'm like, I don't know, but it's now I know, like I said, now I know you work, but that means all this other time, and you're doing this full time also, because it does take a lot of time what you're doing.
Yeah, especially now, right? Like, since COVID, it's been a challenge to try to balance the two. Like, I don't have time for What's Up SAC anymore.
And that was another one too.
What's Up SAC, actually?
So I inherited that. I inherited that from a friend. It's just a daily newsletter. And I used to curate it, which is why everyone thinks I do so much, is because I get on Facebook and just like all the events that I think are interesting. And then I would choose 3 and send out an email every day of, like, here's what's happening in Sacramento tonight. So that's what What's Up SAC is. And I used it. It's kind of part of my equity and inclusion work for the Arts Commission. use it to try to expose people to stuff they wouldn't otherwise know about.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, honestly, I still think that's where What's Up SAC is important too. I know that it kind of went away for a little bit. I was like, I need to know what's going on, because you can't, there's certain, there's the ones 360 Sacramento, I'm sorry, it's not that great. There's like these other ones they're not, they tell you things, but they're all like, everything's in old Sacramento. Like, what's happening? Everything's old Sacramento, So I think yours was more like what's going on and what's really going on in Sacramento. And I think there still needs that part too, part of it too, especially now, which, a lot of people need support, not just, not artists, but, restaurateurs, shops, everybody needs to be, especially independents, I should say, need to be supported too.
Well, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was doing that. For that reason, right? Like I wanted to provide I was like, I got a nice little list of like 1,000 people, and a lot of them are yuppie, bougie people like me, and they can help, and they want to. So I wanted to provide that resource. I just I've just been focused on the care stuff, so I haven't had time for
and that's important. That's also important, and we're going to get into that too. But Teresa said, thank you for what you do, and you're going to talk about the next round for that too, right? On that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Victor. Hey, Victor. Victor's in San Diego. He has a bro up in Sac. Yes.
Yeah.
And Raul is from Oaxaca. ¿Cómo estás, Raul? And he is the mezcalero.
He is the mezcalero.
So, and as going for support, I am going to show or give our support shout out for the restaurant of the very good people. Very, I don't want to say very fine people. That's taken.
And I can't use that anymore.
He ruined a lot of saying. So anyway, but these are very, I used to think it's the artist hangout afterwards because, me and Brian and everybody would hang out afterwards, talk to Tanya and Debbie, always great people too. And really good food and a great atmosphere. Since they've taken it over, I mean, I love Paul too, but since they've taken it over, they made it spectacular. So, and they're just opening up again because, and they're responsible when they close for COVID because someone might have got COVID, right? And they closed for 2 weeks to do that. And so these are the good people that I recommend. I'm sure you guys been there before, and we want to pull up for Casbah. And the patio is open, so come say hi. Yes. And go say hi to Debbie and Tanya and all the crew out there because they need your support. I know that when the smoke clears out that, they're going to need everything they can. So go out there, Casbah. They're open. Good beer, good drinks, good food. Do it. So
yeah, I think now that we can go hang out on the patio, we should definitely go.
Yeah. And I haven't been out in a while, but I'm going to maybe a little bit out. Yeah. So I went out from like going out all the time to nothing. So I had to I had to get somewhere, but they've always been so nice. I know Tanya like sometimes would close the bar and we'd still be there talking about, she played music really loud and it's like, I love that song, we go 70s, 80s, 60s, 2000s, all just anyways. But yeah, so just go. It's a great place. Yeah. So Maya,
before COVID, I would have said that Casbah is my other living room.
Yeah, see, exactly. And that's what it feels. It feels like a home, And I would see people, I would talk sometimes with people, but I would wave. Like, hey, sometimes, it's funny because sometimes I get anxiety to where I can't go from one point to the other without thinking about it too much. And then by the time I think about it, the person left. And I'm like, they probably think I'm the biggest asshole ever because I was like, no, I know, but I'm saying that's how I am, like I really think about people, but I really want to say hi. But sometimes I just get tongue tied. So that's my origin story. I'm a really nice person, but sometimes I just get scared and walk away.
We know you're a big squeaky.
And turning into I turn into a roly poly.
But Maya, thank you for providing resources for our community. Oh, nice, Vero. Yeah. So they're thanking you for providing resources, Maya, for the community.
Yeah.
So,
I do what
you mentioned a little bit like Long Wednesday, the What's Up SAC, and then you kind of touched on the Arts Commission. Like, aren't you the co-chair or the chair for the Arts Commission, or were? Like, what's that all about?
Yeah, I'm a vice chair. So I don't know if people know this, but we used to have SMAC, the Sacramento Metropolitan Arts Commission, and it was a city-county joint venture. and it was staffed by the city of Sacramento, but like we serve both unincorporated Sacramento and then the city of Sacramento. And over the years, we were sort of struggling to understand our power, our footprint, our mission. And so we went through a cultural planning process with the city and the county to some extent, but they didn't, they weren't like heavily involved in the process. But we hired a consultant to come to Sacramento and do this 6-month-long process of developing the Creative Edge cultural plan. And one of the recommendations out of that was that we separate from the county and just focus on the city. And so we sunsetted SMAC at the end of last year, and then created the Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy Commission, and also changed the office, the staff office, to the Office of Arts and Culture within the city. So now everything is 100% City of Sacramento, which is an interesting challenge because you have the Fruit Ridge Finger, right, which is like part of the county, but also like part of the county we should probably annex. And you know, and it's a really underserved community. It's predominantly Latino and Black. And so a lot of the service populations and like the diversity that we talk about like resides in that area. And, you know, it's an arbitrary boundary, right? It literally, like, one side of Stockton Boulevard that you would think is still the city is actually the county.
Right.
And that there's a lot of and you obviously, what I love about this is that you know a lot. And I think all this information is really, it's wonderful because I don't know this stuff. And I lived in Sacramento my whole life, and but it's wonderful that you are explaining this stuff. I think that it helps, like you say, like Walk Wednesday, right? It helps everybody understand what exactly, because I really didn't know what SMAC was. Sometimes I faked it, but like, you know what? Yeah, sure. I didn't know, right? But it's good, good to know that now too, because like we talked about, you talked about the CARES Act and what people probably get really confused by that, and they don't know what it is, and and that's why you said that was important to talk about it tonight. And like I said,
you want me to do that really quickly so people know?
And people can ask questions, because I know there's people on here that had questions on Facebook about it, or had artists were like, what do we do? So
we gave out. I know. So one of the things with the Arts Commission that I had tried to help with is creating an application process that's easier to navigate. A lot of people, that's a common issue in arts administration, is that it's really hard to give people access to these funds because outreach isn't as good as it could be, and then the application process is really challenging, intimidating. People don't necessarily have all those resources and information on file in the way that's being requested. So we're having an ongoing dialogue about how to make that better. And I wish that the $7.5 million that we just gave out last month wasn't dominated by federal regulations, because it's really complicated, and I apologize to everybody for having to put up with that process. I don't think that, given our druthers, we wouldn't have made it that way, right? The city directly wouldn't have chosen to do it that way. Like, it's just, I was confused. Not only like who's eligible, but like what counts as like a receipt, and it was challenging. So
I think Marianne wanted to know. I think this is what we're talking about right here, right?
Yeah.
So perfect timing.
To know what about this set aside? Yeah. So there's the Arts Commission meeting on the 14th. So you can watch it online at 2:00. I know that's really great, accessible time. I tried to move it, but I did not win that battle. So we meet at 2:00 on the second Monday of the month usually. And I think this Well, I'm looking at my calendar. Yeah. So this 14th is the second Monday. We got another 6.9 million allocated from the city council. It will be predominantly focused on reimbursements and not programming. And so the difference there is we allowed nonprofits and arts education organizations to propose projects to support people who had been harmed by COVID, which is allowed by the federal regulations. Yeah. And so we got some really cool projects. The Latino Center of Art and Culture is going to be doing like PSAs basically to help to address COVID. And they're working with a bunch of other organizations and giving out, we're going to be working with a bunch of artists and paying them stipends, which is awesome. And then there's the Atrium is building a Sacramento artist marketplace and doing all the like photography and retail consultant work to like help people get online instead of we do a lot of like training artists and then asking them to like be full business people. And you know, I don't know, like we have a division of labor for a reason. So
I think Diana said, isn't it more for art organizations? I think that's what you're touching on right now. So
yeah, so the programming, the program grants, that's all done. And the rest of the funding will be for reimbursement for lost work. So if somebody lost a contract, a gig, a commission, and they have documentation to prove it, then they can apply to be reimbursed for those losses, which is good. So,
and we have another question
the
for
front page.
There we go. Yeah. Good.
The front page of the website says they serve Sacramento City and County and surrounding areas. Elk Grove is listed yet not accepted. Why?
Yeah, because City of Sacramento got that funding from the feds, and so the jurisdiction is for the City of Sacramento. But the city, that might just be old language. Like I said, the jurisdiction of the commission has changed to be focused only on the city and not the county as of January.
And I'm curious, but what is the mission of the Arts Commission?
Good question. I don't have it memorized, but basically the idea is that we champion the arts and creative economy for the purposes of quality of life, economic development, equity, and arts education.
Okay. And I didn't mean to like put you on the spot to like quote the mission.
Okay.
To improve investment in these specific areas, or it's to make sure that these individuals in the community are able to get the support they need to apply for those funds or something. But no, I definitely didn't mean to like quote the Pledge of Allegiance or anything.
There you go. That was a gotcha question.
Yeah.
That's why I got her.
That's okay.
Hey,
I have
Maya,
a pretty good memory.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. These these cities that like who incorporated themselves, right? Like I think Rancho Cordova is a city now, right?
Yeah.
Elk Grove's a city, so they kind of made their own bed then, right? For this stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
and actually, Rancho Cordova has a pretty cool program where they allocate. They have a quality of life tax, kind of like Measure U, but it's for the arts and like parks and like they were more specific about how they were going to use it.
Yeah, and I saw that too. I see some artists do that, post that. Like, I'm like, well, Rancho Cordova's doing a good job, doing some stuff. Because I know some people were like upset because they got denied for some of the stuff, but I was like, well, it really did because all these counties incorporated into their own cities, so they need to talk to their mayors or the people who incorporated these towns, because that's what happens when you do that. You pull all your resources, and you know what? Sometimes it's not good for the overall good for everybody to do that, but you did it, so that's what happens with that stuff. So yeah. But,
I mean, what would have been nice is if Sacramento was like San Francisco, and we just had the city and the county like and they were the same.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, I know how the government runs, so sometimes it's like the verbiage is pretty, strange and strict too.
Yeah, it just creates a lot of really weird behavior on the part of like the cities themselves within the county, and then also this county, because everybody's chasing tax dollars.
Yeah, and it's true, and it's like, I think that, like I said, a lot of it has to be cleared up because like Rancho Cordova, all these places, they're not far away from Sacramento. They're really, really close. So that kind of throws everybody off, I think, in how we think about things, right? It's like, just because of distance wise, you're 10 minutes away, but you're like literally like a minute and a half away from the Sacramento line. So we have a question for you too.
Yes, the meetings are on the city website. I wish I could give you an easy way to get to that link.
That's always hard.
Yeah. If you go to the Arts Commission page, there should be somewhere that says public meetings, and you can it should link to the current meeting that day.
And that's the one that we put down the link right there for?
Yeah, but we're a Brown Act body, so everything is we can't talk about things ahead of time without having a quorum, and everybody gets to observe. So
just go there. Hold on a second. I'm not. Oh, go ahead. Can you read that, Carissa? Yeah. Carissa reads everything more than 2 sentences.
So Teresa's saying that I'm not trying to complain, but why is it our votes count and our community service counts, but we can't get assistance? And Teresa, is this, oh, sorry, Maya, not personal, just bringing to like not get assistance within the city or outside of the city of Sacramento? I'm a little curious what kind of assistance.
I mean, I think the problem exists regardless of where you live. Yeah. There are a lot of people who know how the system works, and they have been engaged in getting it to work for them for a really long time, and that's their expectation. And I think a lot of what is happening right now in the activist circles is about empowering people who have been left out of those conversations for far too long. So I totally understand Teresa's frustration.
Yeah, I think she is. She's in Elk Grove, I think. Oops, sorry, Serge. He has another thing about. So there you go.
Outside in Elk Grove.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think like you said, that gets a little frustrating because you're so close, and you're because I know Teresa. I know that she's done a lot for Sacramento. I was trying to explain. I'm like, they've had a gallery in Sacramento because I used to go visit them too, and so they do all this stuff in Sacramento, but yet they live in Elk Grove. So that I'm sure that's kind of frustrating, and that's like, okay, where does this actually work? You have 1 foot here, 1 foot there, but you're helping the city too, by providing the space. So, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, there you go. So that's all.
Yeah.
So that's real. It does suck.
Yeah, so, and funding from the federal government, the CARES Act, that went straight to the city, right? It didn't go to the county, or
the county got money and the city got money.
Ah, okay.
But the city got money because it had a population of over 500,000, which it just reached. Like we have I was on the city. Part of the reason why I know as much as I do about the boundaries is because I was on the redistricting committee for the city in 2011. Like the census, we're going through the census right now, and then we'll redraw all our districts. I did that. I participated in that in 2011. So now I know all the neighborhoods and everything. That's why I know so much. And that's why I was like, well, now I have to get involved because I know all this stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. So and we went from 490 to 508 in the last 10 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So Teresa said, "Thank you for your compassion, Maya."
Do my best.
Yeah.
It's lame. There's all this. People kind of hide behind the complexity of it too, and the slowness.
So Serge is confused again about Wonk Wednesday?
Oops. It is a
kind of.
two worlds collide. Labor Day has me off one day. I thought it was Tuesday. Ah, okay. All right. Yeah, Sergio.
Well, I'll go back to that one. There
Yeah.
you go, right here. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So we probably won't get into the wide open walls thing because I know that's controversial too. That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, but I can see
just so you know, that is not officially funded by or run by the city.
No, that's
but it is funded by private philanthropic dollars and business like donations. For the most part, that's my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so some comes from business sponsoring the art that's going on the walls.
Jonas with the arte, love your art.
So John, we don't really know that. That's another story within a story of the wide open walls. But
it's like we're on the case.
Yeah. So, but and like I said, like Teresa said, thank you for your compassion, Maya, and that's what I think people love about you. You're out there, you're honest, you try your hardest, and I mean, we appreciate that. We appreciate you answering questions that all these people want to know, because it's true, it's hard, it's frustrating, and we don't know, like, where the thing about Zoom is like you have to have like these things, and we don't know. Here comes wide open wallets. Perfect, Sean. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to back off, but that's cool. I have one more mezcal. I'm like, let's talk about now.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean.
The mezcal tonight. I was like, wait a second.
This is it. It's time.
Well, the revolution started in a bar, right? So it makes sense that these conversations happen.
Well, yeah. And John, you will do more. John, you have beautiful artwork too. And all these people are beautiful people inside and out. So, and I know they try, and I know that they're, they give it their all, right? And they do it for the love of Sacramento. And Maya, we love that you do this for us too. So I want to say I appreciate you. If I never said that before. Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, and I love this forum.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else you guys want to talk about.
Well, it brings us to to the project of the Black Artist Fund.
Yes, I definitely want to.
Yes, and now that's I left it for last because that's like the that's one So, but we talked about that too, and I've followed you online about that, and saw different things. But I think you are here to explain for us too. What how did it start? How did you I know that came out of love, so that's the most beautiful part of it too. So
well, let's see, how did it start? So for me, it was founded by Faith McKinney. I don't know if you guys know Faith, but she's awesome. You should have her on as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I would love to. I don't know these people personally, so it's hard. I'm actually shy, so I mean, to ask people to do things. I'm like, will you please? But I would love to have anybody who wants to come on. I always tell them, call me up, come on, we'll do it. But it's always been hard for me to reach out to people. Usually I'm reaching out to people that I kind of know, or that I think they're good, they're good energy people. And that's what I would love to have on her. Yeah. If she would come on here, and that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, she'd be awesome. Yeah. I will facilitate that.
Yeah.
But she's, so for me, I was, after the George Floyd uprising, I really wanted, everyone was like, oh, we've got all these riot boards up on all the, like, either broken windows or they're preventing breaking windows. And I wanted a way for Black artists to be able to display their work and to get paid, and to also not have to stand out in the heat, because it was like over 100 degrees that week.
Yeah.
And so I was looking for some funding and then some boards that we could do paste up murals of like digital images. And the Boards for Change project really got like momentum ahead of what I was trying to do. So Faith sort of saw that and was like, this is not the way we would do this, because we want to support artists.
I was going to say, Yes.
Well, we want to, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that I am super committed to making sure that artists are valued,
Yes.
and that means paying them,
Yeah.
because people got to eat, and this is their
Yeah.
labor. And we talk about compensating people for their labor in all these other domains. The arts wasn't any different. And the arts is really important, like I think that the reason I really wanted Black artists to have access to the core and to be like in the visual backdrop of the uprising is for solidarity, but also belonging.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that, Black artists have said to me since I got on the commission that they struggle to get funding and they struggle to have access to the big galleries and the big spaces like that are in the core of the city. That's sort of what we've been focusing on for the last decade. And so we were like, let's capitalize on this moment and start having this conversation and giving people access to the stuff that we have access to, because the board is all people who work in the arts or do arts advocacy, and we know all the big guys,
Yeah.
They don't necessarily listen to us, but like we have like strong ties to the nonprofit arts community, to the philanthropic community, and so like this was a way to pull everyone together, right? Because everyone wants a list of Black everything right now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how it came about, and then we just sort of sat down with this 5-question application and read through everybody's responses. And since we raised more money than we expected, we decided to fund everybody, sort of according to whatever they said they wanted to work on. So.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the, like I've followed some of the artists, and I wish I would have, I wish I would have brought some of the artists' work on there. Maybe next time we'll do that. We can show some of the artists too and some of their art, because it would be nice to see some of it. But I'm gonna bring up some of the grantees. Is that how you say it? Grantees? Yeah. Okay, good. Yes. I'm out. See, the things I get proud of, I'm like, they're super simple, but we'll bring them up, and these are the people that actually got grants, and there's another round of people going to get grants too.
Yeah. So we still have money to give away, and we're in the process of becoming a full-fledged nonprofit. So we have a fiscal sponsor now, DBA Arts, which is the organization that supported M5 when they were doing Art Hotel and Capital Dance Project and a bunch of other things. And they kind of also, just so people know, DBA Arts is there to kind of be the fiscal sponsor. Like that's what it is. It's not anything. It doesn't have really as its own project. It's like Articulator. That's the other one I wanted to mention. So if you have a project and you need a nonprofit sort of shell, hit us up.
Well, here you go. Here's some of the applicants too. So, some of the grantees. I'm going to be running it from the back. So, and I'm sure that, and they do just different modalities of arts, right? Art,
Yeah.
So
we created the first category is like the $1,000 grant for the sowers, which is inspired by Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower, because these are people sort of articulating the future of this dialogue in our community. And then, so everything else sort of follows that kind of a gardening metaphor. We have cultivation grants and seed grants and roots and shoots grants. And these are all artists for the most part that I'd heard of, but there's new people that, I wasn't aware of, and it's been really cool to sort of throw a dime in the water and then like see what emerges as a result. So this is our first round.
Yeah, and I think so too. It's going to be interesting to see what they, how are we going to be able to see what they create too with the fund too? Is that So we could,
So we were really ambitious and thought we were going to be able to like do a second round at the end of July or middle of August, and now we're like maybe late September. And it's a volunteer project, so we have to all get our schedules aligned and do all the applications and stuff. But everyone who applied the first time is eligible again. But we also want to see if we can pull more folks.
Yeah, and it's cool because, like I said, there's really, I think there's an incredible amount of artists in this town, right? And we still have the Hmong community, the Russian community, all these communities that we have that are not being seen anywhere, which I think is, because a lot of people, we did a show on Monday about, people that, Latino Center's doing a show about these artisanal people that, artists that you don't see. You see at a festival, right? They're dancing, but you don't hear about them. And they're everywhere. They just can't be seen because there's no money for them to, and I think that's great what you're doing because, like you said, you're seeing these new people and you never knew that they were out there. And I think it helps with that community. I wish we'd all have a different community to help out too, to bring them out, because I know there's some beautiful, Thai, just artists and and fabrics and because I love textiles myself. When I go to Mexico, when I go to Oaxaca, that's where I go in the mountains and find these women that do these beautiful textiles, and they're indigenous, and so I know that there's around here too. But like I said, I think that's great that you're doing that, and I'm excited because I want to see what they're doing. That's why I'm like, I want to see what because what everybody's up to. So
and we're doing some other things like some education, like how to photograph your work, how to write about your work, how to do a contract to protect your intellectual property.
Yes.
So capacity building, and then also community building. So trying to convene them and bring them together so they can learn from each other, and share resources and stuff like that. So,
and I think that's really the underlining importance too of learning all that stuff too, because I don't think artists are the best at, learning how to protect your artwork or how to, I know that all the time. So I'm like, oh, I should, and I think it's great because, like I said, I really am excited to see what the Black Artist Fund artists are creating, and it's exciting to see that happening because like you said, you're bringing people out into the light. And it's thank you for that too.
Listening to this, and I remember just moving. I'm originally from Sacramento, but moving back after 10 years and hearing things like Sacramento, the most diverse city in the United States, or things like that, and I'm like, diverse, yes, but pretty segregated in its own right. It's unless you're in a specific pocket or community, we don't see a lot of these artists. And so it kind of, as I'm listening to you, it's like the role of art as not only allowing people to be seen, but also that connection that you're making with community power, with our community development and, sustainability, as far as being able to work and thrive here in the community. We talk about the role of art, and I don't think why it's more than just, we talk about it being a mental health imperative, but it's integrated, it's interwoven in everything that we do. And it is so necessary in order to create and envision the community we want to live in. And so seeing you make connection for people is very powerful. Yeah.
Which is an art itself too, by the way.
It is.
That's when you were saying I don't know what Maya is or what she does, and I call it a civic catalyst.
See? I love it.
So you
are an artist, and your medium is communication and education and policy. You have a different brush for the canvas that you're painting and creating this very healthy and beautiful community. So,
and this is the second time. This is the second time someone said this, and I think this is what shows you, Maya, as a person, as a energy being. Thank you, Maya, for your compassion. Right? We know it comes from your heart, and we appreciate that from you. Yeah, so, and then we go to the intellectual question, and
when and where the list? I saw that it's more than 2 lines. I'm like, okay. When and where is the list of the last round of successful grantees published or available? It would be interesting to see who was successful in their grant writing endeavors.
It is in the same place. on the website, and if it's not posted yet, it will be soon. But I'm pretty sure that it was. And then actually, it might just be on the front page. There's a memo that sort of says, this is how much we gave out and to whom.
Yeah.
So we usually have to do a report out to the city council once we approve the grant. And it'll be that way for the next round as well.
And the next round is coming up soon too, right?
Oh yeah, the next round, I think it opens on September 15th.
You hear that, everybody? September 15th. So you better get on that. Here's something really important. So let me put this up. Strong raven feathers, Ruben. Thanks. Picks.
It's very important.
Yes, that's super important right now. Yes. Thanks, Victor. Yes. And Teresa has their artners.org and see what we do. I know they're trying to do mural expressions, and we support that too. And we hope you get it out there, and it'll look nice. I think it'll look good on there. So
yeah, I love that idea. I was on a call with Marcos Aguirre earlier, like yesterday. And he was expressing that they've had some challenges and haven't really felt as supported as other organizations. And I acknowledge that there's still work to do in terms of really opening up access to these systems. But I also think we're making progress, right?
I think so too.
Our poet laureate, Andrew Defy, is the youngest poet laureate the city's ever had at 35. Yeah. And he comes from a space and a community that's not the traditional source of our poet laureates. So, and it was him and Patrice Hill from SAYS, Sacramento Area Youth Speaks, who were the finalists. So we're getting there.
And Andrew,
it was faster.
I think I think sometimes when things go too fast, you lose a lot of the detail, right? And I think that I do wish we do wish it go faster, but I think you're doing a great job. That's and I know that it's going to take a while because you have to kind of break the mold, right? And I mean, like I said, I see you a lot on social media, and I see what you do, and I do pay attention to a lot of it. And I think that, you're doing what you can do and you're doing a great job. And I think that people will probably reach out to you, and you do have a lot of answers. And I think that's what the thing is too. A lot of people are lost out there. Like, what do I do? How do I apply for this grant? How do I do this and that? And I think that a lot of questions, I'm glad that you're here to answer some of those questions, and we'd love to have you back, because I think people would want to come back and ask, well, I forgot to ask this one question, because the follow-up is always, the second show is always the one we're like, oh yeah, I should have done that. And I always tell people, but
quickly, for Teresa and for the woman who's asked a couple of times about the nuts and bolts, the city staff are available to you at any time, and they are knowledgeable and helpful, and they are really helpful. Like, if you call them, they will go out of their way to help you have a successful application, and that's their job. So I would encourage people, don't hesitate. We hired additional mentors to help people with their applications. So we'll probably be inundated this time, but the help is there.
So let me ask you a question. Is the application really hard then? Is it complicated, would you say, on a 1 to 10 scale?
Yeah, I would say it's like a 7 and a half.
Yeah, I would think
the challenge is figuring out your eligibility and whether or not what you're proposing is reimbursable, because everything's going to be reimbursement from here on out. So
Teresa, a thumbs up and 2 hearts. That's good. We only do 3 hearts here, Teresa. So
I'm
kidding. Well, I was going to say, Daniel Savala is in North Sacramento, and he said they have made a project. How can we show our support? So how could they show the support in North Sacramento for? Because it is true that they're coming from, I guess at this point, they're in Elk Grove, right? Considered Elk Grove, coming into Sacramento, but they've always been in Sacramento. So that's kind of complicated in that sense, too.
Well, I mean, they're a 501c3, so you can go to their website and donate. That's one way.
Yeah. So there you go. And Daniel does a lot of stuff in North Sac to, to beautify the Del Paso area, which is another neglected area. It's such a beautiful buildings down there. It's such a beautiful spot too. And I hope that it gets up. And Sean said, Ray helped me with the questions, all the questions.
There you go. See?
So everybody call Ray. Sean, thank you for that too, because that actually helps a lot. Because if there is one person that helps, usually, so Ray may get a lot of questions. So, oh, see, yes, 3 hearts, yes. Well, yes, we don't do 2 hearts, or we do 3 hearts because that's So, but thank you very much for coming out tonight and doing this. That was awesome. I'm sure we could do this for hours because there's a lot of questions and a lot of people, But I'm glad I got you for an hour and 15 minutes. So
this was fun.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth, and it worked out perfectly. So I appreciate you, and like I said, Sacramento shows all its love for you, Maya. I really do say that, and people do love you, because people tell me so. They ask me what you do. I'm like, we'll see tonight. I'll give you. I don't want to answer for anybody, but I know that she does a lot. That's what I say. A lot for the community, and it's very special that someone would do that for the community. And I'm sure that everybody here understands what you're doing and trying to do, so they appreciate that because, artists aren't I'm say that it's more about EQ than IQ. I think sometimes, So for me, like I don't know any of this stuff. People ask me questions or they ask me to do something. I'm like, I don't know. You got to figure it out for me because, But I appreciate that you're out there advocating for change and advocating for social justice and the change for art. And there's a lot of us out there that, we all have, like Carissa said, we have the most diverse community in Sacramento. So we need to see all that art from the communities out there. And then it would be such a beautiful, beautiful place if we can get everybody out there, to, and I'm sure there's a huge language barrier too, like trying to, so, and Teresa said, thank you. And I know that, she was asking, getting some questions too. And bless up, Sean. Yes. Love you all. Thank you for coming out, Sean, because Sean has beautified the city too in his way. And we appreciate you, Sean. And we love you too out there. So, and this show is about love, and we're going to show all the love for Sacramento and, out there, California and United States and everything that's going on in the world. We all, we have a compassion for that. So I appreciate you, Maya. And I thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having this, you guys. And it was super fun to talk to you. I really enjoyed this, and I appreciate everyone's questions. Yeah,
and everybody out there, one last love for Maya. She's still going to keep doing the work, so she's not going away. So, and like I said, so thank you, everybody. Friday, we have Lynn Mayuba, who is an artist here in Sacramento. We're having a show on Sunday. But for Cali Cocktail Hour, we're going to have, it's going to be creation through anxieties. So we do how to, I've been listening to a lot about the emotional language. So, and I wake up every morning now and I'm like, okay, anxiety, what are we going to do today? Friends with anxiety, right? And I'm like, okay, so we're going to create some art. Let's go, take me where you want to go. And, and it's been fun. I made friends with my anxiety. So I'm like, okay, let's do this, let's have some fun. Let's create, or let's, let's watch some trash TV. 90 Day Fiance. Speaking
of which, RuPaul's Drag Race, he encourages you to name your anxiety or your inner saboteur.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. See, there you go.
Yeah.
And art healing, artist healing, and thank you, Maya and Carissa and Corvo, yes, for the info. Yeah, and like I said, it's a fun discussion. It is informative but yet fun, and it's a natural discussion. So, and with some good people. So. Everybody, thank you very much. See you Friday night at 9:00. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Carissa, for always jumping on.
Thanks, Ruben. Have a great day.
This was great.
Everybody out there, yes. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Adios.